It's finally time to talk about the brokers. Friendly, mysterious, and unbelievably powerful. And in our attempts to understand the Shadowlands, we've been exploring many different topics, going to many different places, and whenever we do, there's almost always a broker in the mix. We've only just met this new race of beings in the Warcraft universe, but it's immediately clear how important they are. And it's mostly in lines of dialogue that you've probably missed. Long term, they're even likely to be a gateway to future expansions, and in the short term, they're quite literally plotting something in Oribos right now, and they're almost certainly after the exact same thing that Sylvanas and the Jailer want, and that the Primus warned us they must not get. So because of their plot potential, it's going to be important for us all to have an early understanding of the brokers. So to that end, we've made this video. So, just who are World of Warcraft's latest group of mysterious merchants? You would be forgiven for just thinking that the brokers are the Shadowlands version of the Ethereals, right? A bunch of wheeler-dealers who transmog our armor and maybe collect the odd currency. Well, I think the truth is that just like with the Ethereals, the brokers have got a hell of a lot more going on. So we know that they come from an unknown realm of the Shadowlands, that much they tell us. They are also collectors, and most of all, they prize and collect information. That's the thing they really care about. Now, they seem to be quite conspicuous with their wealth, they show it off, and they seem to be proud enough of what they do. And this is what brings us to their culture. Broker society is organized into cartels, but, well, they aren't just depersonalized trading associations where, you clock in at 9, you clock out at 5. No, cartels shape every facet of their society, right down to how brokers are actually named. You see, each cartel has a short syllable for a name, a sort of primal sound like V or Ba. Now, the cartel name is then added to the front of the broker's given name, and that gives us a character like Venari, Nari of Cartel V. So this means the cartels form a fundamental part of broker identity. It's the first thing you literally know about them from their name as they speak it. More broadly then, they are a communitarian society, reflected in the phrase that they say, "When I profit, we all profit, each according to their station." An individual's cartel, therefore, gives them both their full name and also their purpose in life, their being, their essence, their identity. So, we'll soon dive into each of the known cartels and what they're up to, but for now, that is a basic understanding of what the brokers are as a people and as a culture. Next, their power and what they do. This is the bit that, by the rules of the Warcraft universe, is insane. The brokers have got the ability to freely travel the universe. It is stated several times, and we'll have an example later, but for now, it's important to understand the magnitude of this. They can not only travel around space, but no, they can freely travel around the various planes of the cosmos that have been introduced into the game. As a narrative device, that obviously has huge potential. Not really anyone else does that. To just reflect on another facet of the broker's power then, in the Theatre of Pain in Maldraxxus, there is stocked up the mightiest of opponents from across the entire cosmos. This is all stocked up by the brokers. They have the contract. And this includes a Naru. Yeah, a Naru. The brokers literally just trade a Naru. Go out, grab a Void Naru, there you go. How powerful must the brokers be? What technology must they have in order to subjugate the beings that they obviously can subjugate? This shows us that the brokers are a spooky tier of power, and that there absolutely is more than what is going on here. There's more than what we see up front. You're probably beginning to notice that with the brokers, the more we find out, the less we actually know. I mean, we find out they can just nonchalantly capture a Naru. That certainly raises a lot more questions. So there are some other things for us to puzzle through. First, what is a broker physically? Well, they claim to be from a realm of the Shadowlands, but they don't look like, creatures from any realm that we've seen so far. Each realm has got its own flora and fauna. It's things that are, for maybe lack of a better term, living. whereas the brokers look like fine machinery powered by anima. You can see it in like the intentional design choice of them not having legs, instead them having running blades, right? Super efficient, but manufactured. What is that design language? And ultimately the question then is, are the brokers just the wisp of energy behind the mask, or is that entire suit, that entire thing, a sentient whole? Now, if they are from a realm of the Shadowlands, then what one? What's its origin? What is its purpose? I find it strange that they are not forthcoming with this information, and they really are not. So some things are just not adding up. Like, seemingly, the brokers only arrived in Oribos recently. They are considered to be guests of the city, and it seems that the attendants of Oribos are beginning to become suspicious of what these brokers are doing. So are the brokers even natives to the Shadowlands? Are they natives to the ordered First One's version of the Shadowlands? Are they from the in-between? Some other form of reality? Personally, I think they're from the Shadowlands, but in a very primal way that maybe does not fit everything that the First Ones actually would have set up. Finally then, this brings us on to the big thing. What the hell do they want? I think we're beyond believing that they're just here for a quick buck, for profit. No. The brokers want something in particular. There is just far too much mystery here for them to just be in it for the money. Many people would think that the ethereals are just in it for the money, but as we discussed many months ago in another video, you do the research there, and you find out, oh, there's a mysterious master. And there's also many, many suspicious breadcrumbs that are being laid about the place, making it obvious that there's something up with the ethereals. Well, considering what we've talked about already, the same has to be happening here. Just look at what they do, from freely traveling the universe to trading in Naru, then whatever they're after, it's got to be high stakes stuff, given just how powerful they are. So, the brokers. We have looked at who they are and what they are capable of in very general terms. Let's now get into the specifics, the details, the actual stuff that we can unpack to get a read on this plotline. The first broker we will examine is Albarak. He is the foreman in the Hall of Shapes, and he tells us, "We brokers travel the universe and learn from the masters of every reality we can find." Now, for just a bit of standard dialogue, that's huge. He is clearly telling us that they travel the universe, and to be very unambiguous there, that it does encompass many different realities. Now, this definitely does mean the planes of the cosmos, as we've said. So, there's your hard confirmation of that with a character in-game. Next, there is Cartel Xy. We encounter them in the other side, where Bomsamdi warns us that the brokers are up to something. Then later, we find Artificer xy'mox in Castle Nathria, and it turns out she has been working with Denathrius for some time. Now, we don't know the substance of their agreement, but it does, leads one in a few tantalizing speculation directions, because of course we know about the Nathrazim connection to, Denathrius and also the Lich King. So, if Sire Denathrius created the Nathrazim, how did they leave the Shadowlands to implement the whole Lich King project? And there are many other plans. Certainly, it would have been handy to have a bunch of interdimensional crazy trader people about, like the brokers. Maybe they're in on it too. And this does lead us then to our most mysterious example yet. Cartel V, and of course, Venari, our contact in the Maw. And we certainly are lucky to have her, she provides refuge, upgrades, and know-how. So, if she seems all good, then why does her cartel not trust her? Because they don't, and that means that something is up. Because we free a member of Venari's cartel inside Torghast, and they tell us that she betrayed her former associates, and will do the same with us. It's a bit spooky. Now, later, Venari tells us that she came to the Maw with a group, and that group was, slowly whittled away until only she survived. Yeah, the other guy told us there was a betrayal. So, could it actually be that she betrayed her group in order to survive? At this stage, I would say it seems likely. We then, of course, have to question what Venari actually wants from the Maw. Right? How does the Maw activities there promote the overall broker agenda, and does Venari still follow what is best for the broker collective, or her cartel's collective? and bring it back to the Nathrezim. Could Venari hold the answers to maybe how the jailer got the helm of domination out of the mob? Does she maybe know about what's going on with that other cartel? Are there more mysteries here? Are there inter-cartel rivalries? It certainly seems like Blizzard are setting up very much that it could be that, because the brokers are friendly guys-ish, and we've already defeated, 2 of them between Nathria and the other side. So overall with Venari, it's essentially impossible to exactly say what's going on with her right now. But I will say, remember Locust Walker, right? Definitely mysterious and not a trustworthy dude. Also, definitely acted like he was on our side. So, in the same way that we're expecting something to happen with Locust Walker, I think we're expecting something to happen with Venari as well. Then finally, there is the character Opulence Baher. She is the most influential broker in Oribos, and she is within what seems to be the most influential cartel, Ba. She provides the most clear evidence that the brokers have an agenda. When finding out that the attendants of Oribos are starting to become agitated at their operations, Opulence tells another broker to, and I quote, placate their precious purpose. It is a means to our end. So yeah, their casual handling of the purpose is maybe a little bit shocking. It shows us that they don't really respect what the first ones set up, and that they're clearly, working an angle here, that they're working towards something. Now, their goal is very clearly within their grasp, so we might not have to wait that long. And I say this because Opulence Baher tells her ally, Basolo, this: there are limits to the patience of the attendants, and I do not want this opportunity squandered. Clearly, for whatever they are doing, the time is now. And the idea that our arrival presented an opportunity is echoed by Batlek, who calls it a window of opportunity, worrying that we will leave shortly and that because of that, the brokers must act swiftly. And the most damning thing comes again from Basolo. He nearly gives up the whole secret by almost saying the word sepulchre. But then Opulence cuts him off so he can't finish his sentence. Now, a sepulchre is a small room within which a body is laid. Now, of course, we know that the jailer and Sylvanas, that they are after the sepulchre, whatever it may be, and that the Primus warned us that Zoval must never get it. So what is it? I mean, we know what the definition of the word is. Is it a tomb of a body? Maybe a first one or an eternal one? Does it hold an important object? What's going on? Or, in true broker form, do they want it so they can gain new knowledge from its content? But whatever it is essential to the broker's collective mission. Why they've actually recently appeared in Oribos, and more worryingly, it is essential to Sylvanas and the jailer. So it must have some form of power that will, of course, further his goal of consuming Azeroth's soul. We don't know what that is. We can be pretty damn sure it's not good for us. We've been in quite a wild journey, so what I want to do is pull it back to the ethereals, something a little bit more normal to us that we know about, because there are similarities that you would have noticed. We then have to ask ourselves, though, are the similarities between brokers and ethereals just design, or is there a tangible connection between the two groups? Now, the similarities are striking, right? Their society, it is structured through cartels. There's sort of similar naming conventions. They seem to have maybe similar philosophies, although the brokers absolutely do seem to be a more collectivist group than the ethereals. They've even got similar-ish accents, you could say. So what can account for these similarities? What are the explanations? Well, to get more understanding, let's briefly look at what the ethereals have been doing recently on Azeroth. So we've got a character, Shadreen, a void ethereal. She seems to be working for some sort of master, and she really brought her race back to relevance in Legion, because at the end of the Trial of Style event, the two announcers would actually, on very rare occasion, provide information on the contestants to Shadreen. She was actually studying how we dressed. Later on in the Brawlers Guild, she has an agent, Zan Salish, who gathered information on how we could fight. He just observed us fighting. Later on, of course, we found an ethereal trying to sneak old god artifacts out of N'Zoth's horrific visions. And this is me leaving out a bunch here for the sake of brevity. The point here is that there's strange stuff going on, right? They are investigating us, getting information on us. They are collecting powerful artifacts from N'Zoth's sort of twisted vision of the future. It is all a bit spooky. So, is there a connection? Because I think that similarly spooky things are being done by the brokers. No, right now there's no connection other than aesthetics. Now, you could potentially speculate some sort of connection with the destruction of Koresh by Dementius, that's the homeworld of the Ethereals, back when they, had bodies and stuff, and maybe the emergence of the brokers. You could do something like that, but there's no way to really mesh it up with the timeline, and I would say, basically, the brokers seem a lot more old and a lot more primal. But still, Blizzard did choose to have a clear stylistic through line between the two groups, and I think that means that while there is not a clear connection there right now, I think there will be in the future. So, consider what we've learned about the brokers today. That they are travelers, that they prize knowledge above all else, that they play with stakes at a cosmic level, and they collectively want something. They are working an angle. It's a good thing that they're friendly to us, yes, but I don't think we should really trust their demeanor when it really counts. Because, their prestige, wealth, and secrets, I think, are more important to them than just about anything that we would want. Certainly, they are a spooky bunch. Now, I don't think they're evil. I think they are self-serving, but not really evil. In fact, I think we could actually be interacting with these guys for a very long time, just like how the Ethereals popped up for a long time. Think about it. Blizzard told us that we were going to explore that cosmology chart. And I know, we've talked about that so much in this channel. I get it, we've done it a lot. But it's finally happening with this expansion, right? Shadowlands is supposed to be the opening expansion in a big arc of cosmic shenanigans. And here in Shadowlands, we just met a race of beings who nonchalantly capture Void Naru, who can freely access, seemingly not just all of the Great Dark, but also the various different planes and dimensions and spooky things. So I'm going to make two predictions. First, I think a key part in our struggle against the Jailer will be getting enough trust with the brokers, probably Opulence's cartel, to get access to their information and technology. I also think this will be important through Venari, but that there could just be some sort of, interpersonal, inter-cartel drama going on there. Who knows? Maybe Venari and Opulence serve the same master. It's hard to say. Whatever the case is, though, it takes me on to my second prediction, which is that this plotline will develop into our gateway to the cosmos, right? Lifelands, the plane of order, where a Titan goes when it dies, the heart of the void, all these things have essentially been confirmed by Blizzard. We, though, can't just, rip apart magical items to get to all these dimensions. We can't just be having invasions every 2 years like clockwork with a special portal that appears. Maybe, to get to the Lifelands, we just need to ask the right people, and it turns out we already know the brokers who can make all of those travels. So, I think that's basically what's up here. The Ethereals are real, they got sucked into the void, right? And they're real masters of the Great Dark. That's what we understand of them. It seems like the brokers are kind of like the spooky cosmology chart Ethereals, and that they've got that similar role, that similar function, similar structures and stuff, but the difference is they're totally jacked up on a different power level and are very just fundamentally in some sort of wild way. One of the things that we touched on in this video but didn't fully get into is the Ethereals look like that because all of those void winds and stuff strip their bodies away, but they were able to use the enchanted cloths to keep a form, right? And that's why they look the way that they look. And then you look at these brokers and it's did some master clockmaker, piece them together, put the anima in, and boom, there you go. It's a sentient broker. Are they the machine that creates the machine, right? Brokers make more brokers, just quite literally. We don't really know, but I would think there that the Ethereals look the way that they do because terrible things happen to them, and it's just that was how they got out of their situation, using their technology and their magic and all of that stuff to get wrapped up so they could survive the void stuff. Then you look at these brokers, they were clearly made, right? They're not biological, they were made. Who were they made by? Because if they were made by the first ones, then why do they not respect the purpose? And why do they sort of see the attendants as these just kind of weird sort of dumb little dudes following their purpose? What's going on there, and this is really sort of teasing things at the very end of the video after the conclusion, but one of the things that we've really been thinking is, that the first ones kind of came in and they ordered the Shadowlands. And the Shadowlands is, at its very, very raw form, just that sort of infinite expanse of death energy. It very much seems like that is the case, actually. So I then have to wonder, do the brokers like come from an older lineage there, or is there just something else going on? I don't know, man, but it's all actually quite interesting. So now that I've had my little post-video ramble about what's going on, I'd like to hear what you think. What do you think's going on with the brokers? What do you think their connection is to the city of Oribos, to the Sepulchre, whatever that might be, to the First Ones? Let me know. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video a bunch. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.